and Charlie said to Johnny, do you want to steer it? You know, we just had an outboard motor. And Johnny went back to steer, and I guess he wasn't doing something right, and Charlie went back to sit with him. Well, Charlie weighed 240 pounds. And when he sit back with Johnny, the boat, the bow of the boat come up. You know, it was like this, and when he sat down and brought it up, well, he couldn't see where he's going. And a black man in a fishing boat, I mean a big boat now, was Johnny and Charlie was like this, and this other boat was coming down like this.
And you asked me, do you see that boat?
Huh?
And you called back, do you see that boat? And I said, what boat?
Yeah, what boat? And the black man was steering it, and he was in the bow of his boat, and his wife was sitting in the bow.
Like Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah.
He was thin and she was fat.
Heavy woman. His mouth was going like this. And
he was shaking his fist, and his wife was sitting there laughing. I wasn't nothing but 14 years old. But remember, I turned it, and you said I turned the wrong way. You said you turned the wrong way. Because I thought I was turning the right way. You said you turned the wrong way. And what did I say? It's too late now. and we kept going. We can't zigzag. We hit the boat for sure. We missed it by what, 10 feet, 15 feet? It wasn't more than 15 feet. But at least I stayed with what I did. And once I did it, and we just missed it. But he, oh my God. And his wife thought it was funny.
Did you get nervous?
Do what?
Did you get nervous?
No.
Yeah, I wasn't nervous either.
I could swim.
But the captain, I'm telling you, you should have seen it. It's like Norman Rockwell. I mean, I'm nothing but 12 or 13 years.
Skinny man.
He has been a very lucky person.
You know what? I don't even know. I don't even know half those curse words he was saying. That's how young I was. And luckily, my young ears couldn't hear him because of the sound of the boat. But believe me, he wasn't saying Happy New Year and Merry Christmas. He goes, and his wife was just laughing. It was funny. It was Norman Rockwell. It was a Norman Rockwell picture that he never made. Right?
Yeah, if I'd have came down here last week, I'd have had a black eye.
And I'd have said, what did you? He will never hit you. I just can't imagine it.
Yeah, no, she opened the door, but you know what she did wrong?
It was hard.
She didn't even come back in and wake me up. She should have said, John.
You know what I said? I said, I've got to go to work.
And she didn't come back in and get me.
Then I thought, well, I looked down, I had blood everywhere, but I couldn't see.
Oh, that's horrible.
So I thought I punctured my eyeball. So I'm going, I said, oh. So I took a tissue, and it was blood everywhere. I said, uh-oh. Ran in the house, washed my eye, and then I could see. So then I held my eye and drove to work, and I got to work, and I said, look, did I cut my eye too bad? Because I was either going to stay or go to the hospital.
So did they bandage it for you?
No, I just kept ice on it.
Ice on it,
yeah, but then it turned purple right here.
Oh,
Now it's a little yellow.
Got a lot of teasing about that one.
Not really. No. They were like, oh.
Now, while we're telling funny stories, I meant to tell this earlier. When you said you couldn't do, somebody asked you to do something, and you said you just couldn't do it, you didn't have time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I told you guys this story. Back in the day, when I lived briefly over there on Gorsuch Avenue, before I ran over there with Gordon, the Gorsuch Avenue, that very briefly, only a few months, I had to run out of the house one day because I was running to shoot somebody. I don't know who, somebody.
You were what?
I'm going to take pictures of somebody.
Shoot.
I was going to take pictures of somebody really important. I was really excited. I just got the information, wherever I got the information from. I got the information. I'm ready to go. Okay, let's go. And I'm running out the door. And a guy stopped me. And he said, give me $5. I said, look, I'm busy. I got to go. He gave me $5. I said, I got to go. And he had it in his pocket like this. Like he had something in his pocket. In other words, he was threatening me then. He was patting his pocket like there's something here. And I said, look, I don't have time to be mugged right now. I said, you're going to have to mug me later another time when I'm busy.
I can't hear you.
I told him I didn't have time to be mugged.
Yeah, I can't hear you either.
I didn't have time to be mugged. I just told him I didn't have time. Another day would have been fine. But that particular day, I was in a hurry. So
it's never a good day to have be mugged.
Yeah, well, that day was a bad one for me. He's going to come back tomorrow. But that day, I was in a rush. So I turned around. Who knows? For all I know, he could have had something in his pocket. But I wasn't too much of a rush to care. So
And then tell me, they tried to take your camera.
Oh,
Johnny,
yeah.
You want me to open that window?
Do what you want.
Are you all right?
I'm all right.
Yeah, somebody tried to grab my camera once. Just
Mistake.
grab it. Grab, this was years ago. And he was serious about getting this camera. It's a black kid. He was serious, and I was serious about not letting him get it. Well, they're not going to like what I did. Well, I had to do what I had to do. I went into the traffic. There was traffic everywhere. I went through the traffic. Because I figured if I got through, if I made it to the other side, which I did, he wouldn't chase me, which he didn't. It was too congested. You know what I mean? So I had to get across the street and figure that would slow him down, which it did. But he was grabbing it. He was pulling it, trying to pull it off my neck. So,
Where was this?
downtown Baltimore.
Where?
Downtown Baltimore. I was not too far from the guy that had the boxing, Mac.
I can't hear you.
Mac's Boxing. Mac. Guy named Mac. He's very famous. He's very famous. Rockman. Well, he won the world. He was the world champ briefly. But at any rate, I was down there and we were doing a story. When I was working for the Baltimore Press, I was doing a story. And that's when the guy tried to get the
Are
camera.
you talking to that thing for your benefit or for ours?
He can't hear you.
All benefits.
Well,
Well,
now
what are
we
you
can
doing?
hear
Taking
you.
your own picture?
No, I'm not taking my picture.
Well, what are you doing?
I'm taking your picture. Time for your story.
I don't have a story.
Oh. Well, you got to have a
I have
story.
stories.
Dad, you got a story?
Tell me some stories when he was little.
Embarrassing one.
He
Yeah.
was
Embarrassing
so
ones.
cute.
I know he was. He's still cute.
No, he was just a good little, sweet little boy. He really was.
Oh.
We got to be a teenager, though.
I was good then, too.
You were as aggravating as anybody could be.
It's not true.
True.
It's not true. I was very good.
He was probably good compared to most teenagers
I
today.
didn't smoke. I didn't drink. I picked up all those habits later,
None of which he has now.
which I don't have now.
Didn't do drugs.
Never did drugs, per
I
se.
never could have handled. I was not in that world anyhow. I wouldn't have. I didn't. None of my kids did drugs. And I was lucky.
Well, not that you know of.
Oh, I doubt it. I certainly would have heard somewhere along the line.
Well,
I was open to information.
The writing, particularly,
But they had their hijinks, you know.
helped therapeutically, if you like.
He's still
She
sweet.
never ever complained. So with
you never smoked or did drugs or drank or anything.
I told you so.
It's
She was
amazing.
just too busy
Amazing.
trying to stay alive.
And the people
My
around
family-
her, that's
my
all
mother
they did was
so
drink and
I'm
she
smoke.
did, and you didn't. See?
All the people around her drank and smoked, and she didn't drink, smoke, or do drugs.
Oh,
Amazing.
around me, they all beer and smoke. You couldn't
No,
see
no, no. I'm
across
talking
the
about
room.
abusive. Too much drinking.
Couldn't see across
About
the room.
with
And
liquor,
it was
liquor. Who was
always
drinking liquor?
crowded.
We're talking bad stuff.
I'm talking about liquor. Was somebody drinking liquor at your house?
Well, my father did, but he always had a mint julep in the summer, and
No.
he drank.
This
Talking
is
about
every-
hardcore
this is every day.
drinking vodka.
Absolutely.
Oh no, we never did that.
Day of my life.
That's what she was around,
My father was
unfortunately.
never an alcoholic, but he drank a highball every night.
The
It
world
was just
changed
more of a custom.
in that
But,
instance. The world,
and if he had, my mother would have thrown him out on his ear.
and it was an
She was-
unforgettable.
See, that's what needed to take place. My grandmother needed to take her son and throw him out the door and kick him as far as she could throw him.
Totally
But she
oblivious
didn't.
to everything around me.
Did she have a daughter?
She had 3 daughters and 2 sons. or 2 daughters and 2 sons, I'm sorry. She had
So
4.
what the other ones do?
The 2 boys, well, the one wasn't too bad. I mean, he's mouthy, but he didn't drink that much. But the other one, the young one, drank. That was my
Do you
stepfather.
ever see them?
No.
This morning on the Dan Patrick
No,
Show.
that's.
Live
I don't think I want to.
Network. Did you see what these guys
Or what about the daughters?
Well, my aunt I saw up until last year. I saw her about a year ago. You know, so, but her husband died, and she's not the same.
Most of her relatives are dead.
That's why I can't introduce him to anybody. All my family's gone. My sister, my grandmother. I have a brother, but we're not real close. So we talk every now and then.
Yeah, okay. Mommy?
I might need a minute.
Do you have your children's father? Do you have family? Or you
No.
interact with them?
Bad situation, alcohol. So I went as far as from that as I could.
Yeah, you know what?
I have no tolerance for that.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't either.
Because it wasn't the drinking and having fun or whatever. It was the drinking and abuse.
And they weren't drinking beer or wine. They were drinking liquor. So, liquor.
They didn't know how to
it's a
handle it. You know.
Totally different thing. It alters your personality totally.
I'm surprised that anyone with of Indian descent would do alcohol. I don't know why. I wouldn't think they would.
Why? Because the Indians have low tolerance.
No, because I'm not talking about American Indian. I'm talking about her children's father.
American Indian.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Indian. Oh, because I think if you notice, like on spelling bees or the Chinese, the Orientals,
The
and
Asian.
the
They're
Indian
very
people
bright.
from India, those children excel because they know that education will make you big money. They need that security. You know, they're not into.
They may just be genetically
living like
smarter
the
than us.
Amish.
Have you thought of that?
I don't know. You can't prove that. How do you
possible.
prove anything like that?
Possible.
How do you prove it? And you'll have once in a while you'll have a kid
I think
come
they're
up.
poor. You know, their country's poor, and you know, like when I was growing up, if you didn't work or go to school, you didn't make it. You know, you became one of them. And I said, that's not going to happen. And both my children, you know, very successful. You know, they work. My son has his own business, and he works for Metro.
Really?
So
What business does he have?
he has heating and air conditioning.
Very good. You don't have to worry about being hot in the summer, do you?
I have to worry about paying the bills, right? Because the high bills, because the gas and electric has gone up, hasn't it?
Since the Republicans deregulated it all.
So it's ridiculous. I think the highest bill. Well, how much was our highest bill? 400 and something.
I don't know.
400 and something, I think. That was in the winter,
2002 wasn't exactly
and that was not a cold winter.
of my life.
That was past winter.
I was working in a chicken factory.
Yep.
Well,
and
your
I was
children
going back in,
are successful because you set a good example
specialist and
Yeah.
turned around
of
and said,
work and achieving.
position.
She made him very
Food on
secure.
the
She
Well, I
made
was
him.
determined that I
She
wasn't
made him
gonna
very
abandon
secure.
them.
Her children have a lot of self-confidence.
To look
Too much, she says. In fact, she says they have too
My
much
son has
self-confidence.
too much confidence.
What does he drive the
on the internet.
Metro?
I'd go,
No, he works the air condition, the heating and air condition part.
nothing.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Don't always have a job.
I hope. Yeah.